On the 100th day after the children's birth, my husband Sheng Guozhao arrived home with a group of friends, including lifelong companions and colleagues I had never laid eyes on before. They conversed merrily in the living room. "Brother one, you're truly fortunate. Sister-in-law brought two treasures into the world at once. One must say your fate is profoundly blessed." A colleague exclaimed, "You actually won over Xiehua back then," then added in a hushed tone, "Xiehua, I genuinely can't discern sister-in-law's former appearance now." Guochao's childhood friend swiftly shifted the conversation. Brother one and sister-in-law were high school classmates. He ranked second in the grade while she was first. The second-ranked student captured the top student. Who wouldn't envy such a tale? Your love story rivals a novel. If the two of you were to part, I'd never believe in love again. Unfond of bustling scenes, I retired to our room early. During my courtship with Guochao, I seldom attended such gatherings. Reclining on the bed, I closed my eyes to rest, but the cries of the two children beside me drew me back to the present. Assuming no guest would intrude into the master bedroom unbidden, I uncovered my breast to nurse, only to be met with a gasp. So revolting, like a torn mango. A young woman in her early 20s stood at the doorway, her hand over her mouth as she stared at the stretch marks on my abdomen, her eyes filled with horror. Glancing downward, I saw the dense red earthworm-like streaks of stretch marks that nearly covered my entire belly. Was it alarming? Of course I knew it was, particularly after carrying twins. My abdomen had stretched to an extent greater than most during pregnancy. Postpartum, it resembled a deflated balloon. To my astonishment, the girl attempted to enter, extending her hand to touch. "May I observe further, sister? I've never seen this before, it fascinates me. You've truly endured much." Though her expression feigned innocence, I detected mockery in her gaze. Considering they were all Guochao's guests, I hesitated to display displeasure. Suppressing the in my heart, I managed, "Would you mind stepping out, please? I need to feed the children." She remained rooted to the spot, as if deaf to my words. I repeated myself several times. "Could you please leave the room?" She regarded me with curiosity. "We are both women, there's no need for modesty. I've never witnessed breastfeeding. Does every woman's body transform thus after childbirth?" The sensation of her scrutiny made me profoundly uncomfortable, my body rigid with self-consciousness and shame. I pushed against her, attempting to usher her from the room. "As a guest, don't you think it's impolite to enter a host's private chamber uninvited?" The girl feigned incomprehension. "I merely wish to observe, sister. Cease pushing me." Yet my postnatal physique, still in recovery, rendered my strength trivial beside hers. I could not evict her, and stumbled to the floor, overcome by sudden helplessness. Our altercation drew the gathering from the first floor. Sheng Guozhao, seeing me grasp the girl's hand, coldly separated us. He shot me a reproachful glance. "Ning Xingya, she is our guest. Is this how you extend hospitality?" The girl cowered behind him, her former arrogance vanished. She resembled a terrified little white rabbit. With a dozen onlookers, I inhaled deeply to steady my emotions. Unwilling to disgrace myself before others, I stated, "I intended to nurse the children." She insisted on entering, so I politely requested she leave. She overstepped boundaries first. He dismissed my words, instead turning to stroke the girl's head as if to soothe her. "Guochaoja, I noticed Sister Xinhua wasn't with us on the sofa. I feared she might be unwell or out of sorts. I merely sought to check on her, but she spurned my concern and told me to get lost." The girl pouted, murmuring softly, "My brother was occupied today, so he asked me to visit. I wouldn't have come otherwise." Her brother's familiar features stirred faint recollections. It dawned on me. She was Guan Siki, childhood friend Guan Yi's sister, who'd clung to Guochao as a child, often declaring her brother less comely than him. The last time I'd seen her, she was 10. Her family had relocated to another city afterward, severing our acquaintance. To encounter her here now, Xinhua Siki is like a sister to me. She only wished to offer sisterly care. Can you not be more gracious? I understand childbirth has left you emotionally fraught, but others need not bear the brunt of your temper. Siki is still a child. What does she know of social niceties? You're being overly sensitive, I retorted. Since when is a 20-year-old considered a child? Fixing Siki with a stare, I said, "Spare me the excuses for rudeness. Guochao may coddle you as a sister, but I owe you no such indulgence." I have only met him twice in total. The first time was on the first day I was with Sheng Guozhao. He happily called a bunch of brothers to drink. I noticed there was a sweet and lovely little girl among them, doing her homework beside us. At that time she was much quieter and less talkative, but she would sweetly call brother Sheng Guozhao, yet refused to call me. When her brother asked her to call me, she would softly whisper in a tiny voice, "It's not certain they'll get married anyway." Though her voice was faint, I still heard it. At that time I didn't care. I never thought Sheng Guozhao would fall for a girl so much younger than him. At least his love for me then gave me great confidence. The second time was this recent occasion. Guan Siki was still hiding behind Sheng Guozhao, silent, with tear-reddened eyes that truly tugged at the heart. I knew Sheng Guozhao was always most swayed by this. When Sheng Guozhao and I were dating, no matter who was at fault first, as long as I cried, he would always apologize first and then comfort me. Seeing this, Sheng Guozhao's other friends and colleagues all pretended to have matters to attend to, and left one after another. No one wanted to get involved in this mess. Sheng Guozhao irritably rubbed his forehead and said, "I've told you, how old is she? She's 8 or 9 years younger than you. To you, isn't she just a child? Lin Xingyue, how have you changed? In the past, you would never lose your dignity by getting angry over such a trivial matter." When he saw me shake my head, his eyes were filled with disappointment, as if I had done something wrong to him. Sheng Guozhao grabbed Guan Siki's wrist and headed toward the downstairs door, saying, "I'll first send Siki home. You stay home and think carefully." "Okay, brother Sheng Guozhao." Guan Siki skipped downstairs behind Sheng Guozhao. Everyone says having a child marks the true beginning of a marriage, but now I wonder if ours is already nearing its end. That night, Sheng Guozhao didn't come home. I called over a dozen times, but he didn't answer. I sat on the sofa waiting until midnight. The nanny, Aunt Li, urged me, "Madam, sir might have something urgent at the company and can't reply. You should rest. Your health is important." But it was the weekend. What urgent matter could there be? I made one last call, but then the baby's cry came from upstairs, so I had to go up to soothe him. Unknowingly, I fell asleep, and when I woke up, it was 10 a.m. I asked Aunt Li if he still hadn't returned. She didn't answer, but I already knew the answer. "What would you like to eat, madam? I'll make it right away." I shook my head wearily. "Just some porridge is fine." Sheng Guozhao didn't hurry back until the afternoon. He brought a bouquet of my favorite lisianthus, the same flowers he had loved to buy for me when we were dating. In the past, I would be delighted for days upon receiving them. The flowers were beautiful, but the person before me felt suddenly dim. Sheng Guozhao and I were high school classmates but not in the same class. As others said, I was always first in the grade and he was always second. In high school, I had no impression of him because no one remembers the second place, unless the second place is with the first. We got together in college. He chased me for a full year, and even my friends said Sheng Guozhao was truly good to me. I thought perhaps I would never meet someone so kind to me again, so we naturally became a couple. With that gentle smile on his face, he said, "Xingyue, my attitude was a bit harsh yesterday, so I think we need some time apart. I slept at the company last night." Even if his phone had died upon seeing over a dozen missed calls in the morning, he should have called back immediately, unless he simply didn't care. I asked if he had sent her home. "You mean Siki? She's interning at my company now, as you know. Her brother and I have been good friends for years. She's like a little sister to me. I should take care of her in both life and work. I've already scolded her. Kids are thoughtless and prideful. You shouldn't have embarrassed her in front of so many people." On the way home yesterday, she kept crying, saying she felt too ashamed to go back to work. "Xingyue, can you call and apologize to her?" After all his preamble, this was his real request. As my husband, after I was spied on while breastfeeding and even body-shamed, he not only didn't comfort me but asked me to apologize to the other party. I stared at him in disbelief, tears streaming down involuntarily. I choked out, "Are you sure you're thinking clearly?" Challenged by me, he wiped the smile from his face and returned to yesterday's cold demeanor. "What's the big deal about you apologizing? Otherwise, how can I explain to her brother?" Listening to his accusations, I remained silent. Sheng Guozhao snapped, "Fine. Your emotions have been unstable since the birth. I won't argue with you. The one you truly care about is her, isn't it? What a coward hiding behind others. We parted on bad terms. Sheng Guozhao cares deeply about face, and yesterday's incident did embarrass him, but I was equally wronged as the original victim. During that time, Sheng Guozhao and I didn't argue much. He ignored me and I ignored him, trapped in an endless cold war. At the end of the month, my best friend invited me to visit our alma mater to Thanshin. Su Mingyan pointed to the Ginkgo Avenue and asked, "Remember this place? You agreed to be with Sheng Guozhao here." Of course I did, even the proposal happened here. She didn't know about the recent tension between us, and I didn't want her to. With her temper, she'd surely scold Sheng Guozhao fiercely. At least for now, I didn't want our relationship to worsen. "Shall we go take a look?" I nodded. From the cheering, it seemed someone was confessing love. I said to my friend, "Youth is wonderful." The crowd was so thick 3 layers deep that we couldn't see inside. Suddenly a fight broke out. A nearby girl said, "The girl has a boyfriend, but this guy insisted on confessing. Now the real boyfriend is here. He deserves to get beaten. Her boyfriend looks like he's in his 30s, but he's better looking than the confessing guy. Age doesn't matter as long as he's handsome." It was all just a farce. My friend and I weren't interested in the spectacle and were about to leave when we heard a cry of, "Brother Sheng Guozhao, stop fighting." My friend pulled me into the crowd at the sound. The moment our eyes met, I wondered what Sheng Guozhao was thinking. He froze, dared not meet our gaze, even pausing mid-swing at the opposing boy. Taking advantage of his hesitation, the other boy landed a left hook and a right hook, knocking him to the ground. Sheng Guozhao had a large bump on his head and bruises on his corners of his mouth, with blood already seeping out. This broke Guan Siki's heart. She hugged him and wept non-stop. The boy, seeming satisfied with his revenge, left. Clearly caught off guard by seeing me, Sheng Guozhao wiped his hands on his clothes and tried to reach for me. "Xingyue, what are you doing here?" My friend sneered at Sheng Guozhao. "Xingyue and I are so lucky today to witness this show." Guan Siki looked at me innocently and explained, "That boy has been harassing me every day." I had no choice but to call brother Sheng Guozhao. I hadn't seen Sheng Guozhao lose his composure in a long time, At least not since we graduated and started working. He had always been steady, rarely showing emotions. But just now, he seemed to have returned to his early 20s, rash yet full of youthful spirit, a side I hadn't seen in ages, willing to fight in public for a girl. I scanned the two of them and said to Guozhao, when a girl is harassed, she should call the police, not another woman's husband. To Sheng Guozhao I asked, are you coming home? Or do you want to send her home first? Guozhao panicked. Why don't I treat your wounds first? Sheng Guozhao hesitated. Pathetic. Though he eventually followed me home, I wondered if he truly wanted to. As I treated his wounds, I deliberately pressed hard on the injuries. He winced in pain, but I still wasn't satisfied, increasing my strength. Finally, Sheng Guozhao couldn't bear it and said, I've told you, Siki is studying here at university and interning at the company during the summer. I'm just taking care of her on behalf of her brother. Don't overthink it. Her brother and I have been friends since childhood. She's like a sister to me. I didn't look at him, focusing on bandaging, but I could feel his gaze. When our eyes met, I saw none of the old love in his eyes. I know you don't need to keep emphasizing that. When someone is guilty about something, they keep repeating it to seek validation and ease their conscience. Sheng Guozhao, do you remember how old you are this year? What's wrong with being 30? Yes, you're 30. When faced with such a situation, your first thought wasn't to call the police but to fight. Do you know how many people were watching? She's a young girl. Now everyone will think you're her boyfriend. How will she face others? Were you too hasty, or is there another reason? Sheng Guochao's voice faltered. I just didn't think of that at the time. I was worried her brother would blame me for not protecting her. I didn't want to argue with him. Sheng Guozhao, I hope you remember what you said today, or I'll think you're disgusting. Preying on a girl you've known since she was a child. Even if our marriage ends, even if we no longer love each other, I would still look down on you for that. Sheng Guozhao looked at me firmly and said, impossible. But men's words are always fickle. I already knew not to take them seriously. While he was showering, I noticed his Apple phone on the sofa, looking brand new, as if recently bought. I picked it up and unlocked it. Sheng Guozhao never set a password, hating to memorize numbers just like he forgot our wedding anniversary and my birthday every year. A text message came in. Brother Sheng Guozhao, thank you so much for today. I'm also sorry for breaking your phone last time. I was too impulsive. Can I treat you to dinner tomorrow afternoon to apologize in person? I replied on his phone. Siki, I thank you on Sheng Guochao's behalf. When you spied on me breastfeeding last time, why didn't you think of treating me? We'll both come tomorrow afternoon. The other side went silent. She didn't reply even after Sheng Guozhao finished showering. Calmly, I said to him, Siki messaged just now, inviting us to dinner tomorrow afternoon. Sheng Guozhao quickly grabbed his phone, typing endlessly. Did you get a new phone? He didn't even glance at me as he replied. Accidentally broke the old one. Oh. He grabbed his clothes and rushed to leave, saying, I just remembered there's business to handle at the company. I can't stay with you and the baby tonight. I thought my husband is about to have a new girlfriend, his so-called sister. How absurd. I couldn't help rushing to the bathroom to vomit violently. I vomited up everything I had eaten that evening. I accessed the residential compound surveillance footage, which showed that when Sheng Guozhao sent Guozhao home that day, the two had engaged in prolonged physical altercations at the security booth entrance. In a fit of anger, Guozhao eventually threw her phone into a nearby pond, yet Sheng Guozhao displayed no trace of impatience. Instead, he gently took the girl's hand, pulled her into his embrace, and soothed her ruffled emotions like one would calm a frightened kitten. The security guard beside them, clearly bewildered by this perplexing scene, stared wide-eyed but chose not to intervene, turning his back instead. No wonder the security guard had been giving me such ambiguous looks those days. My best friend messaged me, Xingyue, hurry and check. Someone posted a video of Sheng Guozhao fighting online. I clicked on the video's caption. Today Gich fought someone for me, so incredibly Saichi handsome. I knew he was just being stubborn. In his heart I still matter so much. Such a saccharine caption, portraying what was supposedly a beautiful love story. The comments section overflowed with envy. I'm melting from the sweetness. Handsome guy and pretty girl. They're a match made in heaven. If someone fought for me like that, I'd cry tears of gratitude on the spot. Disgusting man. The girl already has a boyfriend, yet he pulls this confessing stunt, embarrassing her in public. But one comment snagged everyone's attention. Isn't this senior Sheng Guozhao from the class of 2015? I remember he proposed to senior Ning Xingyue right here. After all these years, why is he with someone else? Could they have broken up? Such a pity. I used to say if they split, I'd never believe in love again. They were called a golden couple by everyone back then. Ironically, I had just divorced today and stumbled upon news of their separation. Truly, love is nothing but feces. Using a fake account, I commented, wait, didn't they have twins just a few months ago? What? So this girl is... The comment section's tone swiftly shifted, with many messaging to curse her. Forced into a corner, Guozhao deleted the post and deactivated her account. She'd intended to share her beautiful love online, only to be hounded by critics. Unable to vent her frustration, she'd likely take it out on Sheng Guozhao again. I've recently returned to work and been committed to postnatal recovery, hoping to regain my pre-pregnancy figure soon. Communication between Sheng Guozhao and me has dwindled. We barely speak at home, our only topic being the twins. I've long known our separation is inevitable, a matter of who speaks first. Once cracks form in a relationship, they rarely heal. Where does such a thing as broken mirrors mending exist? It's merely when both still love each other but stubbornly refuse to admit it. Is there still love between us? Perhaps a faint trace, too negligible to feel. Sheng Guozhao and I had agreed to take Mao Mao and Daodu for medical checkups this week. He'd vowed, I will definitely come. No matter what, I won't miss any stage of their growth. But on the appointed day, his phone went unanswered. With 2 children and no nanny, Aunt Lee was on leave. I couldn't manage driving and caring for them alone. As that night, I called over a dozen times to no avail. The baby's crying intensified my helplessness. Pacifying one only meant rushing to the other. I couldn't focus on driving. Through sobs, I called my friend. Yinan, can you accompany me to the hospital? She arrived within 5 minutes, drove us there, and stayed until all checkups were done. Sheng Guozhao finally rushed in as we finished. Panting from his dash down the corridor, he mumbled, "Sorry, I didn't check my phone." My friend slapped him across the face. "Sheng Guozhao, you have no shame. Playing cold violence while leaving Xingyue to take 2 kids to the hospital alone." Holding his cheek in silence, he endured her scolding. I'd long grown weary of this atmosphere and refused to raise children in a loveless home. A complete family matters, but love is the foundation. Taking a deep breath, I uttered the words I'd held back for so long. "Sheng Guozhao, let's divorce." He stared at me in shock. "Are you insane?" I forgot one thing, hardly grounds for divorce. "Are you suffering from postpartum depression? You've been off since the babies were born, sharper temper, overly sensitive." I enunciated each word clearly. "I'm fine and I'm not ill. I just refuse to be your fig leaf anymore. Don't you think it's disgusting to hide your affairs behind the pretense of siblings?" He froze, likely scrambling to recall how I'd uncovered the truth and how to salvage our crumbling marriage. Blame Guanxiqi's excessive urge to share. She needed everyone to applaud their love. After deactivating one account, she created a new one. While sitting in the hospital waiting area, I'd scrolled past her latest photo. Though their faces were hidden, I recognized Sheng Guozhao's cufflinks. Rare Italian designer pieces with minimal chance of duplication. Her caption read, "A pervert harassed me while I was ordering takeout today. I was terrified." Gidge rushed over as soon as I called. He told me today it's hard to see me as just a Mei. Is Gidge about to confess? So excited. Comments exploded. The world is upside down. Is this forbidden love? Keep updating. Love this toxic romance. She replied with a koi emoji. No. He's just a friend of my brother's, we're not blood related. Sheng Guozhao grasped my hand. "Xingyue, stop overthinking. After all these years together, don't you know me? I've told you she's like a sister and a friend. You can't forbid me from having female friends." I wrenched my hand free from his clammy grasp, repulsed, and wiped it repeatedly with a wet wipe from my bag. If there were only one child, I'd fight for custody. But as twins, the court will likely award one to each of us. I want you to waive custody, Sheng Guozhao. This is my final request. He recoiled in disbelief. "I won't divorce you. The children need a father. Your birthday is next month. Let's discuss this afterward. I know I've neglected you lately, but I'll do better." My friend interrupted, seething. "When you two got together, you promised everyone you'd cherish her. Now look at this disgusting mess." Sheng Guozhao tried to protest, but she snapped, "Get out before I hit you again." One moment he was begging, the next he dashed off after a phone call. Empty promises. When it came down to it, he'd already chosen. Me and the babies were no longer his priority. Yin, don't waste anger on him. I stopped caring after the last incident. I can't stand seeing him mistreat you. He can't hurt me anymore. When love dies, only interests remain. Sheng Guozhao fussed over planning my birthday party, inviting the same friends and colleagues as before. The event felt less like a celebration for me than a performance for him. He'd never remembered I loathe crowds. I told him repeatedly, for my birthday, just a cake, home-cooked dishes, and family around the table suffice. Why invite strangers? Now I see he's a performative narcissist, needing to showcase his devotion to magnify his image. This time I stayed silent and even invited both our parents. Our folks, who live in separate cities and prefer quiet lives, believe grown children should have their own space. I vomited up every morsel of my evening meal. I reviewed the community surveillance footage, which revealed that when Sheng Guozhao escorted Guanxiqi home that day, the two had engaged in an extended tussle at the security booth entrance. In a fit of pique, Guanxiqi hurled her phone into a nearby pond, yet Sheng Guozhao wore no trace of irritation. Instead, he tenderly clasped the girl's hand, drew her into his embrace, and soothed her ruffled spirits like one calming a frayed kitten. The security guard, plainly baffled by this spectacle, gaped in astonishment but opted to mind his own business, turning away. No wonder the guard had been eyeing me with such Yiwei booming, unfathomable looks those days. My best friend messaged urgently, "Xingyue, check this out." Someone posted a video of Sheng Guozhao fighting online. I clicked on the clip, greeted by the caption, "Today my Gidge fought for me, so incredibly dashing. I knew he was just being stubborn. In his heart, I'll always matter." Such saccharine prose, painting what was purported to be a fairy tale romance. The comments overflowed with envy. "I'm drowning in sweetness. Handsome hero, pretty heroine. Truly a celestial match. If a man fought for me like that, I'd weep with joy. Disgraceful. The girl has a boyfriend, yet he insists on grandstanding and humiliating her." One comment, however, arrested everyone's attention. "Isn't that senior Sheng Guozhao from the class of 2015? I recall he proposed to senior Ning Xingyue right here. Years later, why is he with someone else? Could they have split? Such a pity. I used to say their breakup would shatter my faith in love. They were the definition of a golden couple. Irony of ironies, I had just finalized my divorce and stumbled upon this news. Indeed, love proves as ephemeral as refuse. Using a pseudonym, I commented, "Wait, didn't they welcome twins just months ago? What, so this girl is the..." The tide of opinion swiftly turned, with countless messages bombarding her with scorn. Cornered, Guan Siki deleted the post and deactivated her account. Her bid to immortalize their love story online had backfired, leaving her seething, and no doubt venting her wrath on Sheng Guozhao. I've since resumed work and dedicated myself to postnatal recovery, yearning to reclaim my pre-pregnancy physique. Conversations with Sheng Guozhao have dwindled to a trickle. We scarce exchange words at home, our soul connection the twins. I've long accepted that our parting is inevitable, a mere matter of who speaks first. Relationships once fractured seldom mend fully. The notion of broken mirrors made whole is a fallacy. At best, it's two souls clinging to faint affection while too proud to concede. Does love still linger between us? Perhaps a wisp too faint to perceive. We'd arranged for Mao and Daodu's medical checkup, with Sheng Guozhao vowing, I will be there without fail. I'll never miss a single chapter of their growth. But on the appointed day, his phone went unanswered. With Aunt Lee on leave, I faced the daunting task of managing 2 infants alone. Impossible to drive while soothing their cries. I dialed a tearful call to my friend. Yan, can you help me get to the hospital? She arrived within minutes, chauffeured us there and stayed through every procedure. Sheng Guozhao finally rushed in as we concluded, panting apologies. Sorry, I didn't check my phone. My friend Slap echoed sharply. Sheng Guozhao, you have no decency. Leaving Xingyue to navigate this alone with 2 babies. He stood mute, cheek in hand as she unleashed her fury. I'd grown weary of the charade. No child should grow up in a loveless home. A complete family means little without love. Summoning courage, I pronounced the words I'd rehearsed. Sheng Guozhao, let's divorce. He stared aghast. Have you lost your mind? One oversight doesn't warrant this. Are you suffering from postpartum depression? You've been so volatile since the birth. I enunciated clearly. I'm perfectly sane. I refuse to be your pretext any longer. Don't you find it repulsive to cloak your infidelity in siblinghood? He froze, doubtless scrambling to parse how I'd uncovered his secret. Blame Guan Siki's compulsive sharing. After deleting one account, she'd created another. While seated in the hospital, I'd scrolled past her latest post. A photo, faces obscured, but those cufflinks were unmistakably his with the caption. A creep harassed me while ordering takeout. Gage raced to my side. He said today he can't see me as just a sister. Is a confession coming? So excited. The comments exploded. Forbidden love trope. Yes please. This is toxic perfection. She coyly replied. Not blood-related. Just a family friend. Sheng Guozhao grasped my hand, pleading. Xingyue, don't overreact. We've been together for years, you know I'd never. She's like a sister. I wrenched free, repulsed by his clammy touch, and scrubbed my hand with a wipe. If there were only one child, I'd fight for custody. But as twins, the court will split them. I want you to waive your claim. This is my final demand. He recoiled. I won't divorce. The kids need a father. Let's discuss this after your birthday. I'll do better, I swear. My friend interjected, livid. You vowed to cherish her. Look at you now, disgraceful. Sheng Guozhao tried to protest, but she snapped. Leave before I strike again. One moment he was begging, the next dashing off on a call. Empty promises. When tested, his priorities lay elsewhere. Yin, let it go. I stopped caring long ago. But he's mistreating you. When love dies, so does vulnerability. Now it's just about pragmatism. Sheng Guozhao busied himself planning my birthday party, inviting his usual circle of friends and colleagues. The event felt less like a celebration than a stage for his virtue signaling. He'd forgotten again that I loathe crowds. I pleaded for intimate family dinners, but he needed an audience for his devotion. This time I acquiesced and even invited both sets of parents, who preferred quiet lives apart from us. My mother beamed at the twins in their cradle. Mao and Daodu are adorable, just like Xingyue as a baby. Sheng Guochao's parents chimed in. Such cherubs. They take after Xingyue's beauty. Lucky they don't resemble that scamp. Sheng Guozhao grinned as he approached. Parents, let's wait for everyone to arrive before cutting the cake. As joy filled the room, Guan Yiza entered. I opened the door and he handed me a hefty red envelope. Long-time sister-in-law. I missed the wedding and the full moon banquet. This is my belated gift. I remarked. So thoughtful. Didn't Siki already come earlier? Why isn't she here today? Turning to Sheng Guozhao, I asked sweetly. Honey, didn't you invite Siki? She's like family. His face contorted. She had school matters. It's your party. Her presence is irrelevant. Nonsense. You've always said she's like a sister. How could she miss my birthday? Guan Yiza, oblivious to the subtext, intervened. That girl is probably off gallivanting. I'll call her over. A petulant voice barked from the other end. I said I'm not coming. Stop badgering me. The line went dead. Guan Yiza awkwardly shrugged. She's grown beyond my control. Let's not let her ruin the mood. Unbeknownst to others, I'd planned to screen photos of Sheng Guozhao and Guan Siki at the party, especially with the sister herself lurking outside the French window, spying on the family happiness she coveted. I wondered how long she'd endure the sight of our foursome. I wagered not long. Sheng Guozhao bolted out after a call. I trailed, overhearing their exchange. Guan Siki pressed a knife to her throat. Gage, I can't bear it. Seeing you all together makes me want to die. He panicked, soothing her. Siki, calm down. Go home, I'll visit later. No, come with me now. She shed her coat and lunged for a kiss. He did not resist. Their lips met, saliva glistening as if time had stopped. When Sheng Guozhao failed to return, I announced. He's gone to fetch Siki. Should we check on them? Guan Yiza frowned. Hadn't his sister refused? His question died as we stumbled upon the pair locked in a fervent embrace. Flashlights from the crowd interrupted their epic kiss. Sheng Guozhao paled, collapsing to his knees. Xingyue, it's not what it looks like. I tossed a tissue. Wipe the lipstick off first. He knelt, scrubbing furiously until his lips bled. As Guan Yi's fists trembled with rage. You scum! He roared, striking Sheng Guozhao. Xingyue is perfect, and you cheat with my sister? I trusted you to protect her. Guan Siki leaped to his defense. It's my fault. I've loved him for 10 years, we knew each other first. Her brother silenced her with a slap. Enough! Disgraceful! Look at Ning Xingyue's stretch marks. No man could stand that. Another blow landed. Sheng Guozhao, your charade is over, I declared. You used our marriage to hide your affair, to preserve your good guy image. But no more. I'd hoped for a civil split, but you've left no choice. His parents stood aghast. Mine merely wept. I reassured them with a glance. I'd long since detached. As expected, the scene went viral. I filed for divorce, demanding full custody. Sheng Guozhao did not contest it. On our divorce day, he arrived unshaven in a wrinkled shirt, shadow of the polished man I'd known. Please forgive me, he begged. That kiss was a mistake, we've never. Spare me, I retorted. Mouth to mouth isn't crossing the line? How enlightened. He relented. Later, I received a venomous text from Guan Siki. Don't think you can trap him with kids. I replied with a photo of Sheng Guozhao kneeling in the rain, begging to be let in. Retrieve him in 30 minutes or I call the police. She dragged him away. To my surprise, he waived all custody rights, and even his share of marital assets. I have money, Gidge, I'll support you, she cooed. Pathetic. She lived in a fantasy where love conquered all, blind to life's greater truths. Sheng Guochao's scandal cost him his job. Now he sponges off his parents, still pleading for another chance. I ignore him. Motherhood sidelined my career, but I'm climbing back. My parents help with the twins, supplemented by hired aides. I make time for my children, determined not to repeat his absences. Guan Siki, disowned by her brother, fled home penniless. No one has seen her since, vanished like a bad dream. On annual leave, my friend and I lounged in Bali, bikinis, cocktails, sea breeze. The girl who'd once worshipped love at 20 now knows at 30. Love, however intense, pales beside self-worth. Happiness and purpose reign supreme. After all, love's end is just an end. The end.